You've done it all throughout your career. What was it about the storied life of A.J. Fikry and this character in particular that drew you in?
Um, the script really, Gabrielle Zevin, the writer of the novel
Yeah,
and also the writer of the screenplay, created such rich characters in this story that unfolds much like the beautiful book she wrote. And and it had a wonderful cast and had an amazing director, Hans Canosa. So I was really, I felt honored to be a part of it, to be asked to be a part of it. It films in Cape Cod, this fictional island called Alice Island, but it's this beautiful setting in this
yeah.
sort of New England world. And I don't know, it was a really special project to be a part of.
Quick turnaround for you from like landing the role to when you're going out to film the actual film. How helpful was it for you having Gabrielle on set as you brought this beloved story and character to life on the screen?
It was incredible to have her there. Um, a lot of the time I use a lot of improv in my things. I find comedy in the setting and the characters and the relationships. And this was more sort of uh structured. She really had written
Mm,
a very clear character, and so it helped to calm me and sort of just really play this character from a place of, you know, just watching people on this island because we were, in Cape Cod and just was off season, getting to know or listening to accents and just kind of picking a few things up. It was cold out, and this time of year. Um, it was really moody, so it was really easy. And working with such incredible actors, I was in awe.
in the film, we see the impact that AJ has on your character. Who were the people in your own life who shaped the storyteller that you are today?
Wow. I had an amazing uh, drama teacher named Ben DeBaldo who really sort of focused me and kind of helped me go down the path of acting, have confidence in myself. And then working with incredible directors like Wes Craven, Walter Hill, and working opposite really talented actors along the way. But my core group of friends that I grew up with were some of the most influential on me.
Mm.
The kids I went to elementary and high school with that I'm still friends with, they really had an impact on my life at an early age.
Great answer. This is such an interesting project where we're following these sets of characters over an extended period of time, which you all brought so much nuance to. What were some of the subtleties that you wanted to include in your character's evolution?
Well, I wanted him to, that area has kind of, it's outside of Boston, so it has a kind of unique accent. So I wanted to bring a touch of that to the character, just because he's kind of like a working class guy,
Yeah.
a small town cop, like old school, really believed in this town and loved this community and wanted to keep it safe. And it's just kind of that attitude. You'd meet a lot of people just even in the hotel or the restaurants that you'd go to that kind of embody that, some of the drivers as well. But there was, I was there's also a feeling of like, wow, he's kind of a fan of AJ's in a way. Like he's
Yeah.
got a bookstore, he looks up to him, like his knowledge of books. He's kind of a fan of Christina's character, Esme, because they went to school together and she always thought she was pretty, and you know, and then Scott Foley's character is this writer, but he's known him for all this time and knows him in the town. He's this funny guy. So I could bring all of that to it, like just being a fan of them in general, and Lucy Hale and all these incredible actors we got to work with was just it was really a fun fun experience. And
Yeah.
Lizzie
Perfect.
Brooks, so like all of these really new up and coming actors, they were really talented as well.
Yeah, perfect segue to this next question. But in an industry that's all about blockbuster action films, it's really beautiful to see a project like this that's about human connection and the evolution of relationship. And there's such a great chemistry that comes off the screen between you and the rest of the cast. How are you all able to build that in such a short amount of time?
I think Gabrielle really created the world, and Hans really, you know, put pieces together to create an environment that really was comfortable and safe. Was all about the acting. Was all about sort of staying true to this incredible script she had written, and it made it really a joy. You know, we it was, you know, these independent films. They're a hustle. You know, you have to learn a lot of dialogue and get through a lot of scenes in a day. My first scene, day of work especially, had me kind of like, whoa, this is, you know, worried about not getting my lines straight. And you know what I mean? When you have page after like dialogue, it's challenging. But I really leaned on a lot of my co-stars in it, and just learned from them, watching their process. And Gabrielle had written a character that was so specific. It kind of grounded me and calmed me, and you
Mm.
know, I wasn't kind of more all over the place.
Yeah, I was looking at the interviews that you've been doing for this project. I found it really interesting that you were saying that on your first day of set, you were a little bit nervous, just given how much dialogue you had to say and the short amount of time that you got to prepare. Is that something that normally happens? Do you get butterflies still, having had such an illustrious career throughout this industry? When you're going into a new project, are you still feeling those butterflies?
I do. I mean, I don't know. I think uh, me as a person in general, I'm like filled with self-doubt, and I'm
Mm,
super critical of myself. So it's hard to be like really, you know, I have confidence, but I have to tap into it, and I have to like believe in it, and I, you know, have to put the sort of negative voice aside to like not let it get in the way. But acting, a lot of acting, for in my opinion, has a lot to do with confidence, and a lot of
yeah.
you know, even if you're playing a character that's that has no confidence, it's important to have confidence in that.
Yeah, towards the end of the film, and as part of your character's evolution, he starts his own book club. What would be on David Arquette's book club must-read list?
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, during the filming, my character mentions in this film Infinite Jest, and I had been reading it throughout this whole production, and it's just really dense book with characters all over the place, all these wild stories. But I just read Gabrielle's new book, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow. That would be first on there.
Yeah.
Just because it's about the gaming rules. I don't know. I read this book. It takes place in LA. There's all these references to things I love. So, and it's a relationship book, which I always love. Then there's uh, the name of this book is Secret. It's called The Secret Series by Synonymous Bosch, which I read with my kids. It's just this murder mystery, not Mr. Murder, but there is some stuff like that. But it's a mystery. It's this like underworld mystery that's really well written that I love.
And this film is a love letter to literature. Has there been a script that's changed your life? And if so, which one would it be?
Um, you know, I'm about to go celebrate the 25th anniversary of a film I did called Dream with the Fishes, and it was written by Finn Taylor, and it's a really beautiful story about a guy who's suicidal, who gets saved by somebody who's got a life-threatening disease. So it's then this journey that these two new friends out of your shell, and it's about understanding your self-worth. It's just a
Mm,
film I'm really proud of. We're
yeah,
gonna
there's some.
that came to mind. I filmed it directly after Scream 2. I drove from the set
Oh
of
wow.
Scream to there. That was like this weird moment in my life.
That's a big transition going from that project to another project.
Totally.
There's so many beautiful themes within this film. Was there one in particular that hit home for you? And what do you hope audiences take away after they see this?
Um, yeah, the theme of you know, your family, like, and however that family manifests itself in your life is so important. And books, and the beauty and the necessity of books and their importance, a bookstore, and reading, and all of those elements. But that family that you form throughout your journey in life is really an important element of just you know finding joy, and that can be in a lot of different ways. It can manifest itself in someone you play D&D with, or whoever, however your that group comes.
Beautifully said. And you were talking about Scream earlier. You're no stranger to bringing members of law enforcement to life on the screen, but probably none more famous than Deputy Dewey in the Scream franchise. What was your reaction when you learned about his fate in that fifth installment?
Oh gosh, they hadn't told me, so I was literally flipping the pages. So I was like, "Oh, I got a pretty good role in this Scream," and I'm like, "Oh, that's why," because it just came to an end. It kind of broke my heart. I mean, it was really hard. I love playing the role and being part of those films,
Yeah.
and like hearing they're doing a sixth and not being a part of it. It's like, oh. But it was also impacted because we had lost Wes, and it had such an impact just in general, stretching 25 years of your life. So it was impactful. And it was a beautiful experience, but I'm really happy I was a part of it.
Yeah. When you signed on for that initial film, did you ever think it would become the cult classic that it is now? What has it meant to you to be a part of that?
It was really special working with Wes, and Kevin Williamson had written such a brilliant script and I loved working with all the other actors in it. There was just an energy toward this whole group. But I could never have imagined what it had become. You never really know.
Yeah, and Christina, who stars in this film alongside you, also produced the film, and you also have experience working behind the camera. Have you found that those experiences as a director, producer, and writer has changed the way you've now approached your work on screen, or vice versa?
Sometimes, I mean, when you produce something, depending on how involved you are with it, it's a bit stressful. There's a lot of lawyer conversations and the agent managers and all these things that, if a fire happens, you have to like, help solve the problem. So it's kind of a luxury when you just act and you don't have to really worry about, some of the pitfalls. But I don't know, has it changed what I perform in? I know not necessarily. I mean, as a working like an actor that just sort of is looking for their next job, almost like seems like all the time, unless you have like a series or something that's ongoing. Um, it's you just kind of like try to get something that you really believe in, that you really like, the people you're working with and the story that's being told. But you kind of never know like how it's going to turn out. It's
Yeah.
always so special when it turns out to be something you're really proud of.
Perfect segue to this final question. It's a two-parter for you. What's next for you? And you've done so much already in your career. What's left on that bucket list?
Oh my gosh, I'm doing Bozo the Clown stuff right now. We're trying to relaunch a brand that I loved as a kid and worked my whole life to be a part of. It's pretty incredible to have this opportunity. But it's a really beautiful world, the world of clowning. So that's something I'm interested in. I have a really beautiful television show I'm a part of called Mrs. Davis coming out soon. So that I'm really excited about people seeing, because I also got to work with some really wonderful writers and actors and production team. So